Let's talk about this. Supposed to make the benefit system simpler and more efficient. What are we talking about? Universal credit. But for many, it has been confusing and has left some worse off.
Yeah, the government says it's making significant improvements to the scheme as the rollout continues across the country. But a report out today says ministers are in denial about the effect that it's having on the lives of thousands of people.
Well, joining us now is Kayleigh Hignell, who's the head of welfare policy at Citizens Advice. Good morning. And Edward Boyd from the think tank, the Centre for Social Justice, who's in our Westminster studio. Good morning to you both. Kayleigh, let's start with you. So there are criticisms now. The National Audit Office is saying this is just not fit for purpose. It's not fit for the 21st century. What has gone wrong with universal credit?
This is a huge benefit reform. It's going to affect a lot of people and a lot of different groups of people. There is some evidence that it's working for some groups, a good portion of people, but for others they're really facing some challenges and struggles getting on the benefit, getting paid on time and making sure they can keep their finances under control.
Well, in terms of numbers, and you say some are benefiting, some are not, can you break that down?
So it looks like a good 1 in 5 people are really struggling with this benefit. Now, the worrying thing that we see in the National Audit Office report today is that people who face extra challenges or potentially extra costs, so people who are carers, people who may have a severe disability, working parents who are paying for childcare costs. So when things go wrong for these people, it has a real impact.
And how is that different now compared to what it was in terms of the system before? Because there were like 5 or 6 things you could compare. The idea was this brought it all together.
That's it.
But those same people would have had problems, wouldn't they?
The aims and principles of universal credit are good aims and principles. We really agree with them. And actually, if this benefit is designed and delivered well, it really will bring some additional benefits and tackle some of the problems we see in the current system. The challenge here is making sure it works for all of those people, making sure it works not just on paper but in practice, and making sure we don't make people financially worse off or destabilise their finances in the process of rolling it out.
Listen to Edward Boyd. Edward, do you accept it's just not working properly for enough people right now?
I don't think I do. I think it's in some ways a very helpful NAO report, and some of the media around it is different from what it says in the detail. One of the points that they bring out where I don't think enough is being done is to work with voluntary sector groups like Citizens Advice and others to help make sure that you help an individual who's trying to get back into work tackle the root cause of why they're there. It's called universal support. It's a wraparound package that it's designed to go with, and it's been rolled out well in some areas, less well in others. But we step back from the detail. All the evidence so far, whether it's DWP's evidence from the government or from independent people like the IFS, shows that through universal credit, people are more likely to be in work, they're more likely to stay in work and earn more money. And we can be kind of put it to the side and say, yeah, but it's not working in some areas, and the government needs to do more there. But that effect is huge, because actually if you get someone to a job and help them to progress in it, you have a massive difference on people's life outcomes and in tackling poverty. And this is something that all the evidence is showing is happening.
But we've also heard evidence, we've heard from lots of people here on Breakfast over the last year or so who've had terrible stories of delays, not getting the money on time, the forms being overly complicated. You've got to accept that for some people it has been a nightmare, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I think changing a welfare system that affects 8 million people is never going to be perfect. And there's a real responsibility on government in this to make sure that where they see an issue that they correct it. And it's designed such that it rolls out, everyone says it's rolling out slowly. It's designed to roll out slowly such that they can stop, make changes as they see things not quite working. And you go back to November, the government was rightly being pressured because people were waiting too long before they got any money when they first came on, and they invested $1.5 billion to change that. And I think let's recognise that they did make those changes. There are other things they need to change as it goes along to improve it. This NEO report is useful towards that, but let's not say that it's not working, because all the evidence so far shows that it is.
Okay, well, I know you and Kayleigh disagree that all the evidence is showing that it's working. Edward there, Kayleigh, mentioned that some changes have been made. What other changes need to be made quick?
That's right. Changes do need to be made, and it's great that there is agreement that there's more to do on universal credit. Government need to really review that claims process and the way that they are paying people. Crucially, they need to make sure there's adequate support available for those who do need help. This benefit is for people who are looking for work, it's for people who can't work, say they're carers or have severe disabilities, and for those who are in work. For this to be a success, it's got to work for all of those groups.
Thank you both. Very much indeed. And keen to hear from you at home this morning. If you've been affected by universal credit, by the change, if you're yet to be affected by it, do get in touch. Let us know your experiences and we'll try to read some of your comments a little bit later.